Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, everyone. Hey, this is your host, Sister Naira, with the Heal on Purpose podcast, hosted by the Repair of the Black Family. It is 3/16/24, and I am coming on today as a special honor and contribute to my father, Lee Henry Bowcat Green. This podcast, The Whole Repair of the Black Family, which we specialize in eradicating generational trauma, generational drama, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns, was birthed out of honor, tribute, and just absolute love for my daddy. If you do not know, Sister Naira is a daddy's girl. And so my daddy is no longer here with us, and it is his birthday. So I wanted to come on and do a special tribute to my daddy from a daddy's girl. One of the things that my daddy said to me before he left here, y'all, he said that he did not want to be forgotten. And so, being that it's almost 20 years that he's been gone, I want to absolutely honor him on his birth anniversary with a special show. And so if you are listening and you're coming in today on this podcast, I'm going to ask that you drop me some yellow hearts. I'm going to ask that you support the program by go ahead and getting some of those stars down there. You can purchase the stars. You also can donate to the Repair of the Black Family. This is a birthday honoring celebration for my daddy. It's going to be really special because I'm going to share with you how I turned my pain, my grief, my traumatic experience into passion, purpose, healing, and ultimately global effect. And so, with that being said, if you are listening on YouTube, I'm going to ask that you like and subscribe to the channel. If you are listening via Facebook, go ahead and share this because I pray that my message will be able to help someone transform their pain into passion and purpose. If you are listening via Instagram, go ahead and share the video as well. And so before I get started on what I have to say, let me put my daddy up. Okay? Let me put my daddy up on the screen. And if you are a I didn't mean to do that, but with that being said, obviously that was the introduction for him. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and put daddy up on the screen. Yeah, as y'all can see, I got a bunch of things going on. We're trying to get these different pictures up here. However, that doesn't stop the show. Okay, so this is my daddy, Lee Bowcat Green. He was born 3/16/53, and he actually left here on May 18th, 2001. He was affectionately known as Bowcat. Okay, if you are anywhere in the city of St. Petersburg, my dad was highly known. He was very well known in our city. He was loved. He was definitely a man of compassion. And as y'all can see, I resemble my daddy. Okay, he was just the light of any and every party. And so I ask that if you're listening to this and you are one that have lost a parent, that you take a moment and just reflect on that one, or anyone for that matter, any loved one that you have lost, in particular a parent, that you take a moment and reflect on that person and drop in the comments or and just reflect on a white candlelight. I do believe in that we keep their light shining by in being in remembrance of them. And so today, as I remember my dad with all of the little mistakes that I just made with trying to get him up on the screen, it just says that I'm not perfect yet, okay? I'm striving to just stay on the road of perfection. Like Jesus would say, that's my daddy. My daddy would say something like that. Jesus said, "Be ye perfect, even as I am." So though I'm not perfect, I'm always striving for perfection. And so as I honor my dad and I think about this most magnificent man who was just an absolute treasure in my life. Every time my dad would walk into my daddy, I call him daddy. Every time he would walk into a room, his smile would just brighten up the room. And I can remember the times or recall the times where when I see my dad or whenever he would come around, I would just like everything was all about excitement. I would just run and just call him to the top of my lungs, to the pitchness of the highest pitch I can get. And I would just be like, "Daddy." And he was just a man of excitement and he would match my same energy. And so as I think about him today, I think about the brightness. I think about the brightness of his smile. As I think about him today and I reflect on the moments, I think about his caring and compassionate heart. My dad always said this, that he wanted to be a millionaire, right? He was always envisioning a millionaire back in the 80s, how he was going to be a millionaire. And though he didn't make it to a millionaire status, quote unquote, financially, he was a millionaire in spirit. I can recall when my dad would go and pick an orange off a tree. Come on now, I'm honoring my daddy today. He would pick an orange off a tree and give me that orange and peel that orange, and that orange was the best tasting orange ever. And so, as I think about, all of the things that he had to go through in life, and at those times, I didn't realize because I didn't realize to the degree that I know now, because of course I didn't have the wisdom, I didn't have the understanding, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have all of the tools and the resources that I have now. I didn't understand back in the days that my daddy was suffering with his mental health. And as a result of him suffering with his mental health due to him not being able to fulfill, come on, somebody write this down, not being able to fulfill his passion and his dream where he wanted to become a track star and, wanted to be uh, a millionaire. And he became physically hurt. And over a time period, from my understanding and the knowledge that I was told, that he had a total of 27 surgeries in his life. And he suffered from depression, right? Which led him down a road of drugs and alcohol, always trying to cope, always trying to deal with the pain. But now that I'm much older and I'm much wiser, I realize in this time period now where I'm at, that pain was not just a physical pain. It was a spiritual pain, it was a mental pain, it was emotional pain, it was a physical pain. And I reflect on the goodness of my dad and how he always wanted the best for us. And because he felt within his heart that he couldn't give us what he desired to give us, that he suffered emotionally, and that took him on a route where his pain overtook his ability to just be fully present in life. And so today I honor my dad because the things that he wasn't able to do to the degree that he wanted to do and shed light in the way that he wanted to shed light. My dad was like a really, really, really smart man. Matter of fact, y'all, let me tell you something. I learned that my dad was a part of the Yahweh Ben Yahweh. I didn't know all of this when I was younger. My mom was just recently sharing me some stories, and she was like, "Your dad would just sit up and study, and he would always be reading, and he would always, be studying his Bible and studying scripture." He was just a very smart man. So I had to look and say, "Oh, that's where I get it from," because I just love to study. I love to study. But I want to say this as you're listening to my story, that even when a person is gone, their light is still alive. as long as you keep it alive. And so as I sit here and I reflect on my daddy in this very moment, I understand that the love that he have and he had, not just for his family, but for humanity, is still shining. It's still going through. And how do I know absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt, knowing that his light is still alive and his love is still present and he's still doing the work greater than when he was here? Because I'm here. I'm here to take his legacy further. And I didn't realize that I was actually taking that legacy to a whole nother degree until the repair of the Black family was given birth. I gave birth mentally to the repair of the Black family. You see, as a daddy's girl, I was so in love with my daddy that when he left, just as much love as I had and have for my dad, just as much grief. And I have some strong love, and I had a strong grief. My grief was so painful that for 10 whole years, I couldn't find myself. For 10 whole years, I was lost in the darkness of my own mind and in the darkness of my own feelings. For 10 whole years, I was searching for my dad, not physically, but I was trying to find him spiritually. I was trying to find him mentally. I was trying to find him emotionally. I would question, why did you leave me? But all and every time I would question and try to find the answers and searching for my dad, the more my purpose was coming alive. You see? And I'm saying that to say this, that because of my pain that was so overwhelming, and I was so-called diagnosed with depression, I was so-called diagnosed with anxiety, and I just couldn't figure things out. Even physical illnesses came about of me holding on to the grief. Yes, I was praying. Yes, I was, doing what I needed to do. But that was that one part of me. And I want you to think about this. That one part of me that I didn't know how to let it go. No matter how many times people would say, you got to let this go, not him, but the pain. I didn't know how to let the pain go. And so, in burying the pain, more and more mental stress, mental disparity, emotional, physical. I was going through it, y'all. But the key thing of it is, and many people do this, I was suffering in silence, and nobody, and I'm not going to say nobody, but most people did not know, except for those who was around me and very closely, that didn't know what to do with me. But God, the more I increase my ability to have that conversation with God and literally beg him to get me out of the darkness of my own mind, the more I was able to will myself, because he was granting me strength. Have you ever gone through something where you had to will yourself out of it? Do you know anybody that's going through something and they may need that extra strength to be able to will themselves out? Well, I had to will myself out of the pain. But as I was coming out of the darkness of my own mind, as I was coming out of the grief, as I was coming out of the emotions, purpose was showing up, because I started to reflect on the moments of time. Not that I won't have him anymore, because that's where I was stuck. I was stuck and I'm not going to have my daddy no more. He's gone. But I start reflecting on him living. I started reflecting on the good things of life that he did with me. I started reflecting on the good things in life that I seen him do. My daddy would go and he would get food from out of the stores, out of the garbage can stores, and he would drive down the streets and feed the animals. That's just the type of man he would make it. It was like a daily routine. He would literally get in his car and go through the communities, and he would just call the cats and call the dogs. Come on now. And he would feed the animals. There's many more things I could say, but these are what somebody may say as little things, but they was great things for me. And so as I started to reflect on his humanity, on his love for people, and his love for animals, and his love for righteousness, and his love for freedom, even though he had conditions that would look different than who he was, good God, I began to develop that sense of purpose, that what I wanted from my dad and what I wanted with my family, that though I didn't have it in present time, that I can actually develop it and give it to somebody else. And so the first thing I needed to do as I started to find that purpose, and I started to find that purpose when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us this tool called Dianetics. And when he gave us that tool called Dianetics, I was able to have one therapy session. And in that one therapy session, 10 years of grief, good God Almighty, 10 years of being stuck in my emotions, 10 years of being hurt, 10 years of being lost that nobody knew, 10 years of suffering in silence, exactly 10 years of wandering in the wilderness of my own mind. One session, one therapy session was able to get me out of the darkness of my own mind. And so as you're listening to my podcast today, what is going to be that one thing? What is going to be the situation that's going to get you out? Get you out the darkness of your mind, get you out the darkness of your grief. But when I came out with a new reality. I came out giving birth to a new circumstances. I came out with purpose. I came out with passion. I came out. Come on now, who am I talking to? Somebody need to come out. And knowing that when you come out of the darkness, when you come out, that you got purpose. And so I'm asking you today, as I reflect on the goodness of my daddy, happy birthday, daddy. That if you've gone through a loss, or you're going through some pain, and you've gone through some grief, and you've gone through some trauma, and you may know somebody, it might not be you. Because there was times in my mind where I didn't even know if I wanted to live. But I will say this, but because I was constantly in prayer, God helped me with giving me my own solution to get myself out of the pain of my own mind. But I had to be able to listen to the voice of God. And listening to the voice of God came through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so I thank God for wisdom. I thank God for the ability. Somebody, as y'all listening to it, I want y'all to drop this in the chat. You got to listen and have the ability to hear the voice of God. And so I'm sorry, y'all, that it got disconnected. I want you to drop in the chat that I got the ability to hear the voice of God. And so as I think about my dad, and I think about what I had to go through, and I think about pulling myself out, and I think about when I came out, that I came out with passion, I came out with purpose, I came out on a journey of healing. And this is why I know that no matter what, when you're going through something, the value of being able to have somebody who can support you in your healing journey, who can help you define your healing, because healing is not general. It's not a general thing. It's personal. Come on now. I'm going to ask y'all to write that down. Healing is not general. It's personal. But the beautiful thing about healing is you can define your healing. When you name the healing and you want the healing, you can get it. I'm going to say that again. When you name the healing, see, I had to name my healing. My healing was the power of overcoming. That there's nothing in my life nothing in my life that I cannot overcome. So I became the overcomer. Because there was times where I couldn't see my way out. There was time, not just with the grief of losing my daddy. There was many things in my life, but the thing with me losing my dad, it catapulted all of the other pain and into it. Just seemed like it was all one thing. I couldn't separate. I could not. Excuse me. I couldn't differentiate. It all looked at the same. So that's why I felt, because it all looked at the same, that there was no hope for me. Because I wasn't going the other routes. I wasn't going to get myself on medication. And no, because I wanted to be alive. I wanted to be present. I watched my dad suffer from pain and being on prescription medication. So I had a fear. I had a fear of being on prescription medication because he would be asleep all the time, to the degree that he was. And so now, when I came out of this darkness, I started looking for ways that I can heal. And I started to overcome those things that looked like I couldn't overcome, but God. And it took me a long time to even get to the space that I am now. And I still got more levels to my healing. But in the process of healing, come on now, somebody write this in the comments. In the process of healing, gave birth to purpose. But I was willing. I was willing to take that pain and turn it into purpose when I started to identify that I'm an overcomer. And so as you're listening to my message today, this message just may be for you. Your healing journey may not look like mine. It may not even be about grief. It may be about something total. It might be about a loss of a relationship. Maybe you was married and you're going through a divorce. Maybe it's with your children. Maybe it's with your coworker. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's with your physical health. Maybe your physical health is suffering. But what I came by to tell you this, in honor of my daddy, that there's nothing that you're going through right now that you cannot overcome. Somebody write that in my comments. I'm an overcomer. And in me, overcomer is going to give me new purpose. Don't you know? Purpose grows, purpose change. The more the goal is, the bigger the goal, the bigger the purpose. And so as you overcome in your life, just know that there was a purpose for you going through what you had to go through. See, there was a purpose for me in my daddy leaving. It was not in vain. His life was not in vain. And this is why I can stand before you and say, Daddy, I can say this, Daddy, you will never be forgotten because of the purpose of the repair of the Black family. Come on now. See? So as you're going through something in your life, look at it and ask yourself a powerful question. You and God. And then your mind will begin to look for powerful solutions. And so I just wanted to say this, and I'm not going to be long, but I just wanted to come by and shout my daddy out. Happy birthday to my daddy, Lee Bocat Green. Bocat, one of the fastest men in St. Petersburg. Okay. And I am his big baby. Okay. And he wrote me a letter, his last letter to me, asking me in the letter, because he was gone in prison, do you still love me? And honestly, I don't even know if I wrote my daddy back. That's how I was just out of it. But I will say this in answer to the letter, I love you, Daddy. And I want somebody not only to listen to my story and say, oh, that's her story. Don't feel no pity because I'm telling my story from a healed perspective. But I came on to tell this story today because I know that there's somebody that's listening to the sound of my voice that may need to know how to overcome. And so it took patience and it took prayer, but it took me looking. See, scripture says, seek and you shall find. I was seeking for answers on how to heal myself so that I did not or be in a process that would take me out of the pain and that I didn't want to go certain routes. You may be going through something in your life right now and you're looking for an answer. You're asking for an answer, or maybe you feel like there's no way out. But I'll tell you this, the one thing that I had on my side is I had the ability to keep crying out to God. Even when I felt like he wasn't listening, even when I didn't think I was, I didn't think I was enough for him to even hear my cries. Yeah, I went through that too. I went through that pride. I went through that process. But as I kept growing and I just kept being who I am and I kept working out my salvation, I was working through my pain, y'all. Somebody, who am I talking to? You got to work through that pain. Write that down. You got to work through the pain. As I kept working through, helping others, I was finding myself helping other people. Not on the level where I was going through the pain, but I was helping them in other levels, and that was actually bringing healing to me. And so where I felt afraid and I felt alone and I felt abandonment because my daddy wasn't here. The more I helped people, the more I got connected to the God that I serve, the more I got connected, the more I was able to see that I was never abandoned because he's right here within me. I was never in a space where I couldn't hear his voice. I couldn't feel him because I have the memories of his voice in my mind. He used to listen now, he used to say this: loose lips sink ships. So I will reflect on some of the things that he would say, some of his sayings and some of his favorite scriptures. And as I was thinking about his words and I was thinking about, how he made me feel, and I was reflecting on his laughter. I was reflecting on the good and some of the things that I felt at the time wasn't good, but it was all life lessons. That's how my purpose, that's how the repair of the Black family was given birth to. And so today, I just want to encourage you that no matter where you at on the planet, no matter what you may be going through, no matter where you may be in your healing process, always know that you can overcome. And as I close this out, I say this to say that happy birthday, Daddy. And I want to thank you for all that you're going through on this planet. I want to thank you for all that you gave us. You gave us till you couldn't give no more. And most importantly, I want to thank you for all the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy birthday to my daddy, Lee Bocat Green. I want to thank everybody that listened to this podcast so that I can honor my daddy and share how you can take this story and do something with your healing journey. Maybe go a little deeper, maybe impact a little more, maybe go feed some animals, right? In honor of this story. Maybe you might be that one person that can give a smile that's worth $1 million. These are the things that I remember about my daddy. Maybe you that one, he used to always teach us how to plant a garden. Maybe you that one will go plant a tree today in honor of somebody that you have lost. Yeah, I planted some peppers, y'all. I planted some peppers for my daddy's birthday. Maybe you are that person that will listen to this story today. And as a result, you too also know that you are an overcomer. You too also know that you can heal on purpose. You too also know that somebody that you love, life will never be in vain because you are still present. And that is the gift to my daddy, a daddy's girl for a daddy's story, Lee Bocat Green. Healing on purpose. I love you, Daddy. Happy birthday. Y'all help me give my daddy a shout out as I strive to put his picture back up here. Happy birthday to my daddy, Lee Bocat Green. And so I ask that you go ahead and plant a flower today, feed an animal today, smile at somebody today, give somebody something in honor of my daddy. Happy birthday, Daddy. And as I get ready to close this out, healing on purpose, I want to invite women to my Heal on Purpose community, women's only community, a new mind, a new woman, starting with healing your past. This is a purpose, one of the purposes that was given birth to as a result, knowing that we got to heal from our past, where we're cultivating awareness, developing our authenticity, being transparent, trust, emotional balance, mental health, networking, and more. This community is open to all women. All you have to do is text 727-623-5555 or email healonpurposecoach@gmail.com, and I will ensure that you get the information. Last but not least, I definitely want to encourage the leader in you. Sister Naira and Brother David in our leadership and coaching program, we encourage you to think big and create the future. We are we have developed our leadership program where we focus in on influence, communication, self-awareness, innovation, team development. Listen, it's not just leadership, it's leadership in every aspect of your life, whether it's in business, whether it's in your family, it doesn't matter. Developing the leader within you. Emotional intelligence, and that's right, creating generational wealth. I want to thank y'all so very much for listening in with Sister Naira and Brother David. I ask that you continue to support the Heal on Purpose podcast by subscribing to my website at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. If you would like to make a donation to the Repair of the Black Family, you also can go to Cash App, $Family Repair, or in PayPal, Heal on Purpose. Thank y'all so very much. And thank you for just listening as I honor my daddy, a daddy's girl, a daddy's story from a daddy's girl. I love you all. Thank you so very much. Heal on Purpose. Peace and love.